Thank you to our wind ensemble concert band under the direction of Mr. Ryan Berkey. Please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by members of the PVHS Tempo Mentals under the direction of Dr. Jerry Massera. Fantastic job. Would everybody please be seated? Before we get started tonight, I'd like to recognize two very special people who have devoted themselves to the children of Putnam Valley High School and have given us great years of service in a variety of roles. So we had the unique opportunity this year to have two assistant principals. So I'd like Mr. Oliverio and Mr. Odell to please come up as we thank them for all they've done for the students of Putnam Valley High School and this senior class. And we have diplomas for each of them to recognize what they've done. There you go.
Thank you so much, Sandy.
Thank you for all you guys did.
Thank you. Oh, that's cool.
Honored guests, board members, fellow administrators, teachers, parents, and our class of 2016. Welcome tonight. In 1939, a movie was released that has since become an icon of American popular culture. Written as a musical comedy drama with much of it based in fantasy through its use of a dream sequence, it became known for the many basic life lessons that were woven through its storyline. The biggest lesson was learned by a little girl named Dorothy. That film, as you know, The Wizard of Oz, and the lesson Dorothy learned was, there's no place like home. Putnam Valley seniors, you will leave your home here today with your diploma in hand and your dreams ready to become realities. Every one of you can't wait to meet the next experience that life holds for you. Each of you is eager and ready to set out on your own adventure, your own journey to Oz, and the path you will follow is your yellow brick road. But before you open the door, take your first steps and leave, take a moment and look around you. Look at your classmates sitting next to you. Who has been the devoted scarecrow, the beloved tin man, or the cowardly lion for you? Who has stood by you through thick and thin? Now take a moment, look into the bleachers, look at your family and friends sitting in the stands. Who has provided you with that same sense of security that Dorothy felt for her home in Kansas? And finally, take a moment to look at the school that was your educational home. Many of you have told me how much this school has meant to you. Savor this moment, savor the familiar, savor the known. You were truly blessed to be here at Putnam Valley, weren't you? You had phenomenal, caring teachers and counselors here at Putnam Valley High School, and I saw many of them at the prom last night celebrating with you. Coach Elsasser, Miss Nater, Mrs. Tarkington, just to name a few. You had extraordinary facilities here, and you had a tremendously supportive community where parents took joy in participating in activities to help you. Whether it was fundraising for the Touchdown Club, cooking for Make a Difference Day, or preparing the senior breakfast, your parents and your community has shown their love and support to you. Will it be easy to find that elsewhere? Pause carefully and consider that before you leap into your next adventure that is your life, and appreciate what you have been fortunate enough to have here at Putnam Valley. And as you travel down your yellow brick road, know that, like Dorothy, challenges lie ahead. But just as Dorothy had her loyal group of supporters, so do you. Know that whatever lies ahead, your friends, your teachers, and your school, and your community will always be here for you. But before you begin that next adventure, let's reminisce for a moment and look back at some of the big events from this past school year. This was the first year that Putnam Valley had not one, but as we said, 2 assistant principals. For the first time, students went on internships through the Journey program. We had 2 amazing theatrical performances, Death of a Salesman, Me and My Girl, many concerts. This year also saw the addition of the new Senior Week celebration and Breakfast of Champions. We had a New York State NYSSMA trumpeter. And as far as athletic accomplishments, just to name a few, the varsity boys soccer team won its league championship. The varsity football team made it farther in the playoffs than any previous team in school history. That's right. Both the boys and the girls varsity basketball teams went to the county center. The cheerleading squad and wrestling teams went to the states. Both softball and lacrosse did amazing in their respective playoffs, and baseball won their league this spring. Proudly, the Make a Difference Club won the Opt Online 5K Charity Championship. $5,000 was donated to our charity of choice. And lastly, and most importantly, seniors won Color Wars. Today, each of you is Dorothy. Your adventure down your yellow brick road begins now. Follow it carefully, make it special, make it fantastic, and make it memorable. You'll encounter many unusual characters along the way, no doubt. Some will be kind, some might be mean, but I ask you now to look for the valuable lessons and life truths that each of them will teach you. Every experience that you have will give you value if you stop and examine it. Do remember, though, that if life, like Dorothy, life carries you far in both distance and time, you can always return here to Putnam Valley, to your roots, to your home. True happiness can always be found in your own backyard, because there's no place like home. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Wills, Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you, Ms. Intrieri, for reminding us how lucky we are today. And I felt that, too, when we were looking at the flag, and it was waving. There's a beautiful breeze, and it's a very special night for us. Good evening, graduates, Board of Education, families, faculty, administration, staff, and friends. Special greetings to Mr. Barano and Mr. Oliverio, who've known you for many years and have come to honor your graduation. On this evening, I feel quite humbled by sharing your attention for just a few minutes, as I know that the excitement and flow of events are moving quickly now toward another place in your life journey. For most of you, the last 13 years have been structured within a frame of predictability and comfort, knowing what came next. School has a regularity that provides a sense of security and safety. In fact, it is that sense of safety and certainty that allows our minds to focus on study and allows us to enjoy the other aspects of school life that bring fun and the excitement of collaborative and competitive investigation, the athletic, the arts, the performances, projects, and clubs, all shaping character and sophistication, as well as the potential for accomplishment. In a small school with many graduates who have been together for a while, the comfort of knowing each other is similar to that of a family. And we did not share our speeches, so the theme of home and family is very strong. With highs, lows, conflicts, and celebrations, but essentially a familiarity that establishes a bond that is often unremarked and not even noticed. Just an invisible safety net that supports the learning in and out of the classroom. In your class, each student has a story, an individual narrative that relates to the whole, like a tile in a wonderfully complex and variously colored mosaic that cannot be complete without each of those lives, within which reside the dreams and hopes, the fears and struggles of the unique you. With even one missing tile, the mosaic changes inextricably, diluted in its meaning. That knowledge of the power of one individual has been made very clear, most recently as the list and photos of the 49 victims of last week's Orlando tragedy were published in recent days. Each person's story is unique and precious in the catalog of humanity. Essentially, each of you has made a contribution to the whole and has shared connections with teachers and staff that made school that comfortable place, remembered in your yearbook, and now in the eternity of social media. In a recent essay, columnist and commentator on social and political behavior, David Brooks explored the role of love and connection in the educational process. He cites Paul Tufts' new book, Helping Children Succeed, and suggests that without the sense of love and support in the learning environment, extraordinary academic achievement will not occur. In fact, it is the emotional foundation that you have experienced in your homes and in Putnam Valley schools that have been the critical factor in your growth. The very unique learning environment in our school district is one that creates the culture that Tufts describes in his book. A culture of caring criticism, so students feel loved while they improve. A culture of belonging, so fragile students feel their work has value. Brooks describes the very qualities that have infused your educational experience. He notes that teachers must teach students how to feel about their own feelings, how not to be swallowed up by moments of failure, anger, and sadness, but to slow the moment and step outside the emotional spiral. I have seen our teachers, and I see so many here this evening because they have that caring feeling about you. I'd like to ask for an applause for the teachers who've come tonight to share in this wonderful moment with you. I have seen our teachers, support staff, and administrations touch student lives in this way. I have heard them seek ways to reach students' hearts, to invite them into the life of the mind. As you strive into your new pathways, whether college or other work settings, you will need to create a new support network, finding sources of strength within, using the capital of love you have stored from your families and Putnam Valley schools, and your own creative explorations. Building that network will require you to make independent choices about friends and teachers and relationships that nourish and bring joy into your life. Your challenge may be greater than generations that came before. There is another life you lead on cell phones and apps and social media that also compels you to choose voices to hear and those to shut down. That is a life I do not really know, nor do I pretend to understand the siren song of continual attention to that cyber world. What I do know is that you have touchstones of real connections from your Putnam Valley school experience that can continue to be a source of strength and love as you tackle the challenge of the less certain, less structured learning life in pursuit of your dreams and so overcome the inevitable obstacles with a foundation that transcends failure and recognizes the joy in every day. Congratulations to you.
I would now like to introduce Mrs. Janine Rufo, President of the Board of Education.
Good evening. It is always an honor for a Board of Education president to speak at graduation, which is really the culminating event for all the decisions we make all year long. Some of you here this evening may know that the way I write my speeches is that I use my trusty iPhone 5, and throughout the year, as I attend events and get inspiration about a class, I write it down and use it in June to put together my words. The last few years I have started in the fall of senior year. However, for your class, my first entry, and it's still in my phone, was at a board meeting on May 22nd, 2014, when you were all sophomores. During that meeting, several students from your class were recognized. My notes say, started the Magma soccer program, had a play win an award and get performed in New York City, wrote a play to present to our ninth graders, won an Entrepreneur's Award, became an Eagle Scout. Then I wrote, OMG, they are all sophomores. What are they going to accomplish by the time they're seniors? And now we know the answer. Many senior classes say that they want to make their mark and leave a lasting impression. And I believe that it is fairly easy to make your mark by doing what everyone else is doing, but doing it louder, or maybe even slightly better, but just louder. However, I would challenge you that the real way to make your mark in school and in life is to have what you do matter. The accomplishments of this class have lived up to the promise of their sophomore year, and you have mattered. You have mattered to a lot of very special children when you recognize that due to their unique needs, they could not know the accomplishment, pride, or fun of playing sports without help and support. So you created a lasting program to provide them that support. You mattered to our entire community when you instilled such pride in us all, when you entered sectional after sectional appearance, and 3 times this year filled the county center with the sea of navy blue and white. You mattered while you were performing Broadway and Carnegie Hall-worthy performances in our own neighborhood. You mattered to the many people and organizations who benefited from your many, many hours of community service. You mattered to your future when you insisted that your administrators and teachers provide you with creative opportunities for rigor and hard work and experience. I really can go on all night about how this class has demonstrated the importance of doing things that matter, but I need to keep this a fairly reasonable length. So last night, I was here as you went to your prom in all of your incredible glory. As the buses were pulling away, I happened to see 3 good friends of mine who were senior moms waving at the buses, and they sort of huddled together with tears in their eyes and smiles on their faces. When I spoke to them, they shared with me that the 3 of them stood together in virtually the exact same spot in front of the high school 13 years ago this August, waving to the buses as their sons and daughter went off on the kindergarten bus run. We all shared a tear, and someone said that this goodbye was harder. You see, when the people who were here tonight waved you off to kindergarten, there was some emotion, but they weren't really worried. By standing together sharing that moment, those moms were creating a community of support and sending you off to a larger community of teachers and staff where they knew many people would be there to watch over you, guide you, teach you, cheer you on, and give you all you need to get where you are today. But here we are 13 years later, and your next bus ride, or car, or plane, or train ride, will take you where this safe and trusted Putnam Valley community will not be. So there is a lot of excitement and quite a little bit of worry as well. So on behalf of all the moms, dads, family, and friends here tonight, I will give you a little advice to take with you as you venture out of our Putnam Valley comfort zone. I really could be a Geico commercial. I give advice. It's what I do. But I figure you probably don't listen to your parents. Maybe you'll listen to me. The first piece of advice is to show up. Be fully and completely present. Whether you are attending a class, writing a paper, making a meal, or having a cup of coffee with a friend, let it be the best class, the best meal, the best paper, and the best cup of coffee you have ever had. Make every moment count. This year, your class showed us all about the value of showing up by creating the Mr. Valley pageant. The contestants of that pageant showed up in very incredible and rather unique ways. I want to quote Mr. Brandon Matthews, who that night said that what he was grateful for was the ability to get better by putting your best foot forward. Since he probably said that while solving a Rubik's Cube with one hand in 5 seconds, I would say that he takes his own advice. That same night, Trevor Conlon said, "Don't ever worry that people won't like what you do. If you know it is right for you or will matter to someone, just do it anyway." He may still have had his Elsa wig on at the time, so you know he also walks the walk about showing up, or dances the dance, or sings the song, or lets it go, or whatever. That brings me beautifully to my second piece of advice, which is to take positive risks. Maya Angelou said that the only walls that exist are the ones that we put up ourselves. Stretch yourselves to take on new challenges and meet every opportunity that comes your way. And while you're there, bring a good, healthy dose of self-preservation. There is a very, very big difference between taking positive risks and engaging in risky, potentially dangerous behaviors. Use your spidey senses and learn to recognize the difference. My last advice is to spread joy. I may not be old enough to know the way to true happiness, but I'm old enough to have a clue. I have found that the happiest and most fulfilled I have been is when I have made someone else happy. I challenge you, starting tomorrow, because today is obviously already covered, to make it a point to make at least one other person happy every day of your life. I promise you will see that come back to you 1,000-fold. I will close with the words of a kind of obscure song by David Pomerantz, which John Denver sang, called "It Is in Every One of Us." And I promise I will not sing it. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. We know that it is in every one of you to be successful, to reach your dreams, and to matter. Thank you for mattering to all of our lives.
I'd now like to introduce Mr. Michael Ruda, who will be our student speaker.
Good evening, everyone. First off, I'd like to give a big shout out to Luis Fernandez. It is his birthday today. And shout out to Ant. All right. Good evening, Dr. Wills, the Board of Education, Ms. Centreri, Mr. Odell, faculty, staff, and administration at Putnam Valley High School and the class of 2016. Who is the class of 2016? Among us are academic achievers, scholar athletes, and amazingly talented performers and artists. We have strived to make a positive difference in our community. We are the second class ever to win Color Wars 2 years in a row, and the first class to ever hold a Mr. Valley competition. We are the first class to have the honor of graduating under our new principal, Ms. Centreri, who created Putnam Valley's first Journey program and Senior Week. She has brought nothing but positive energy and encouragement to our school, and for that, we thank her. As we look back at our numerous accomplishments, there is no doubt there are leaders among us. We have challenged ourselves, taken chances, and seen positive results. As we venture outside the walls of Putnam Valley High School, it is important that we take our leadership skills to the next level. Leadership is not just leading a group of people. It is constantly taking initiative to better yourself and others around you. It's up to us to define and shape our lives. As we move forward, we must ask ourselves questions like these that John C. Maxwell posed in Leadership 101. Are we a class that is going to sit and wait for the phone to ring? Or are we going to pick up the phone and make that phone call? Are we going to spend time living day to day reacting to problems? Or are we going to spend time planning while anticipating problems? Are we going to fill our calendars by requests? Or are we going to fill our calendars by priorities? I'd like to challenge everyone here to reflect on these questions and decide which person you want to be. I know that everyone in this class is capable of doing great things. In closing, I'd like to leave you with a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. What lies behind us and what lies before us are small matters compared to what lies within us. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2016.
Thank you, Mike. Now I'd like to introduce one of our class presidents, Justin O'Brien, who will speak.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be able to speak to you tonight. Before I begin, I would like us to take a moment to thank all of the parents, faculty, family, friends, and anyone else who has helped one of us along the way. And since I have the mic, I'm going to give a special shout out to my mom, who's up there somewhere. I love you to death. I don't know what I'd do without you. So here we are at high school graduation. This is not an experience that is new, as every year tons of students graduate high school, and it has been this way for generations. But every year the exact same feeling is reproduced on the day of graduation. The graduates can't help but reminisce over the past and fret about the future, questioning where their lives will take them, but also not wanting to leave the lives they've known. Parents and family cannot believe their little one is really graduating high school, wondering where the past 18 years have gone, and no matter how hard they try to wrap their head around it, they are all astonished at how fast we've grown up. But that feeling you have right now is why today is so special. Today marks the end of life as we know it for all 157 of us. When September arrives, for the first time in 13 years, there will not be a first day of school for us in Putnam Valley. Some of us will be in college, some working, but none of us will be in the halls of Putnam Valley High School. Look back on the times you've had, from football games to, as multiple people have said, seniors taking color wars 2 years in a row, to just sitting in the cafeteria with your friends. Try and look back on it all, as the life we never really appreciated until it was almost over comes to an end. With it, we have to look forward, as we're still only teenagers. It doesn't matter if you cruised through high school with a 99 average or barely secured your seat with a 65. We're all starting over. For the rest of your life, you have the ability to relentlessly pursue whatever it is you choose to do. Never liked school and always wanted to be a singer? Congrats, you're done with it. Now go chase that dream like your life depends on it. Always loved school and planned to study to become a doctor? Good for you. In 30 years, I want to hear you're the best doctor that ever walked the earth. Maybe you're in somewhere in the middle and you don't know what it is you want in life. Explore it until you find what makes you happy. The point of this message is that high school is just the beginning. We all have the ability in us to strive for our wildest dreams and achieve the lives we want. And by not trying, you are only setting yourself up for unhappiness. Now, obviously, I'm only 18 myself, so consider what I said more of a personal belief rather than learned advice, but I think it's true either way. With my motivational part out of the way, I would like to end by honoring the graduates. We have all earned the right to call ourselves Putnam Valley alumni. Congratulations to the class of 2016 for all of its accomplishments. I will remember the times we've had, and I wish you all the best.
I would now like to call up Mr. Robert Phillips, our co-class president, for his speech today.
Hi. As I stand here today in front of my classmates, teachers, friends, family, there are no words I can say to fully describe the emotions I feel and I'm sure share with others about graduating. High school has been a long journey that is sadly coming to an end. The start of our journey, freshman year. I will never forget the first day of high school. I was nervous, excited, and anxious. I did not know what to expect other than from watching Tim Riggins tear it up in Friday Night Lights. On the first day, as I walked into the doors, my stomach turned. Seeing what looked like 40-year-old men lined up and screaming, or as some say, greeting us into high school. For the first week, days felt like hours leading up until the notorious Freshman Friday, as I was worried about getting beaten to a pulp. As the year went on, I learned the ins and outs of high school and what is truly the huge difference all the middle school teachers warn us about. Freshman year, parents become taxis, your biggest fans, and wardens. Freshman year, you begin to find your niche. You learn to balance schoolwork and the new intensity of sports. Freshman year was the beginning of the end. Our next stop, sophomore year. You're no longer at the bottom of the food chain, but somewhere lost in between. You can't drive and still have to ask your parents permission to go out. But being the teenagers that we are, we spent most of sophomore year sneaking out, finding ways to stay out late, and being defiant towards our parents. Sorry, Mom. Sophomore year, you learn that your childhood TV shows, games, and antics are no longer cool. Although we never realized this was the start of us figuring out who we are. Next, the year that supposedly matters the most, junior year. College is real. I opened up my eyes and suddenly the first 2 years of high school were gone. The real world was approaching fast and time didn't seem to care. The stress of SATs, college applications, and keeping up with our grades had put a toll on everyone. However, through the times of stress and anxiety, what presumed to be most important were the friendships we made along the way. Junior year was a ride. We learn who our real friends are, we sort of figure out our future, and we get a real idea for where we are headed in life. Now, last but not least, let me tell you about senior year. You hear all the cliche quotes, it'll go by so fast, senioritis is real, and senior year doesn't matter, which all in my eyes are true, except the last one, school always matters. Senior year, which began what felt like 2 days ago, is now over. We've all gone through our fair share of Uno games in the library, gym games taken too seriously, and debates in class that ruined friendships. Together, we have made history. C16 has took part in sectional wins, league titles, received Metro awards, and most importantly, became the second class in PV to win Color Wars 2 years in a row. Despite difficulties between relationships, friendships, schoolwork, and tater tots that are more fit for throwing than eating, we all have one thing in common. And it's the most amazing thing about this day. Everyone sitting here with their cap and gown has overcome adversity. It has made us stronger, brought us together, and made us more prepared than ever for what life throws at us. Although senior year will be the last of many, it's the new beginning for all of us. Thank you to all the parents, teachers, coaches, and family who has pushed me to strive and prosper to reach my goals, and most importantly, to the class of 2016 for making these 13 years the most memorable time of my life. C16, shout out to my goons.
Thank you, Michael, Justin, and Rob. Great job. I'd now like to welcome Stephanie Wagner, our 2016 salutatorian, to the podium.
Good evening, families, friends, faculty, staff, and the class of 2016. Tonight, we are here to celebrate our success, maybe survival, and the memories we have all created together. Many of us have been with each other since kindergarten, and we are here to remember the bond that our class shares before we head off to create new memories. Let us fill those new memories with moments of boldness and have no fear of failure or what others might think, because no matter how far away we go or how close to home we stay, the family that has been created here between our peers, families, and teachers will always remain. The night I sat down to write my speech was the day I heard about the tragic death of our former Putnam Valley friend, Lily Biatini. I struggled to believe it was true, that someone we had known for so long and had grown up with had lost her life. That night, I thought about how we are entering a new world as we move on from high school, and I began to think about the lasting impressions we leave wherever we go. Years from now at a reunion, our classmates may be much different than we remember them from high school. But that is the beauty in graduating. We all have the once-in-a-lifetime chance to start over while building on the people we have already become. How people define us now is not how we have to present ourselves in the future. Those of you involved in theater can try out sports or different clubs, and those of you leaving the sports field or court can test out theater or other arts. One of the last times I stepped on the basketball court with the first girls team to go to the county center in 9 years, I was acknowledged by Alyssa Stockinger in the newspaper for my halftime speech that pumped them up to win the game. You could say it's one of my specialties, so get ready for your halftime speech. Go out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to be adventurous or to do something you never thought you would. Take a class just because it sounds interesting, even if it has nothing to do with your major. Maybe you'll discover something about yourself. Maybe you'll even change your major. We all owe this to ourselves. We are all brilliant and talented. There are seniors sitting before us with books published, movies made, those that signed for Division I sports teams, those that have worked their way up the ranks at their job, and so many more accomplishments of which many of us are probably not aware. We all have this bursting talent inside of us. Let those talents define who you are. I was honored recently to attend a speech from the famous author Seth Godin, who spoke about taking risks in order to reach our full potential. He asked each of us to raise our hands as high as we could, and followed with asking us to raise our hands higher. Just about everyone in the room raised their hands higher, even though we were initially told to raise them as high as we could. Today, we tend to hold back what we have in many things we do. But I hope as each of us travels to our new beginnings that none of us hold back, because these next 4 years are the ones that shape the rest of our lives. It is up to us to shape them with everything we have to offer.
Thank you, Stephanie. I would now like to introduce Jaden Marshall, our 2016 valedictorian.
Administrators and advisors, families and friends, teachers and parents who manage to be all of the above wrapped up into huggable human beings, I'd like to begin by offering you all a warm thank you on behalf of the class of 2016 and myself. It cannot be more true that none of us would be standing here today without your encouragement, guidance, and endless supply of tissues. There are 2 words I'd like to say to my classmates tonight. They're inscribed here on my class ring. You probably can't read them right now, unless you're a bird of prey or are wearing hypervision goggles. If the latter's the case, I want your optometrist's number. I was a sophomore when I picked out these words, and the 2 years that have passed since then have not sufficiently provided me with enough experience to give anyone career advice, academic advice, or even plain old life advice. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know if one of us is going to discover the cure to cancer or become the next president of the United States. The sky is empty during the day so that we can fill it with stars of our own before night comes. If we already knew our futures, why would we bother to dream? However, there is something that I can do right here, right now in the present, and it's the instructions written on my ring. Believe magic. And standing here before you all right now, it's easy. Magic can be defined as something that shouldn't possibly be able to occur according to the laws of the universe, but does. Our class has made magic happen over the course of the past 4 years. No one should be able to hula hoop for 45 minutes straight, or found their own charities while in high school, or win Color Wars 2 years in a row. Imagine what magical things we're going to accomplish in the future if we've already started a revolution over French fries. But these are all magical things that our class has done. We are more than the sum total of our actions. Our actions are only some of us, which is something magical in and of itself. Our actions are the costumes that our brains wear when they want to go out in public. In chemistry, we learned that matter can neither be created or destroyed. Neither can magic. Our magical acts come from a place that is equally magical. That place is here. It's something that we hear over and over again from our pop culture mentors. Think of a wonderful thought, and you can fly. Tap your heels together and think to yourself, there's no place like home. There are two common threads here, magic and thinking. Both are important. The thinking part comes from a little voice inside of your head. No, it's not the one that tells you that you should eat all the cookies or that those jeans probably do make your bum look big. It's the voice that puts the I in imagination, in innovation and individuality. It's the voice that tells you that you are the only one capable of giving the world what you are capable of giving. It's a superpower from the universe, and it tells you that if you don't make things happen, no one else will. For those of you who doubt the presence of magic here tonight, I have two final pieces of proof to submit. One, all of our graduates are currently dressed up as wizards in blue and white robes. And two, all of our graduates are about to receive a piece of paper, which, when rolled up, is shaped exactly like a magic wand. Graduates, use those wands. Thank you all and have a magical night.
And now for the awarding of diplomas, I'd like to invite your class advisors, Mrs. Tracy Getman and Mrs. Melissa Rosano, to read the names of the graduates. I would also like to welcome the Board of Ed, and Dr. Wills, please come up so we can award the diplomas.
Jacob Atticazil. Samuel Alper. Kyle Anderson. Max Anderson. Stephen Ang. Kayla Burt. Jason Bowen. Stephen Brown. Valmir Brukaj. Tyler Burkhart. Christina Byrne. Thomas Carroll. Alyssa Caro. Sophia Castro. Jack Chase. John Christian. Michael Christmas. Tristan Cintron Salvagni. Brittany Cinchula. Trevor Conlon. Kelly Lynn Cottrell. Alexander Craven. Erin Cuomo. Vincent Curry. Thomas D'Amico. Thomas Dalton. Zulema Dath. Harrison Deegan. Caitlin Delaney. Michael Delabate.
Mike, you're a stud.
Cassandra Denisco. Tara DePole. Pablo Diaz. Alexandra DeRoma. Danielle Dorian. Sabrina Dring. David Dropkin. Stephen Eckenberg. Sierra Espinera. Nicole Fabiano.
Stephen Famularo. Luis Fernandez. Kimberly Fauché. Emma Fraterola. Tyler Fritz. Kevin Gallagher. Anthony Gallo. Zachary Gervalo. Andres Gonzalez. Kelly Greenwood. Lucas Greenwood. Cody Gutierrez. Michael Hausgen. Bryce Hamilton. Elijah Healy. Marissa Hillis. Caitlin Hort. Lucy Israel. William Israel. Jake Kahn. Bridget Kelly. Gavin Kelly. Quinn Kelly. Noah Kelvis. John Kinley. Alexandria Knight. Nicholas Kurtenbach. Danielle LaFleur. Isabella Lysingang. Cassandra Link. Veronica Lazuski. Justin Lopes. Kelly Lynch. Jaden Marshall. Maxwell Martins. Brendan Matthews. Noah Maxwell Flores. Grace Maza. Laura McDade.
Mariah McDonald. Maeve McGee. Jake Malikian. Tristan Merlino. Rachel Myrna. Thomas Messliner. Joseph Montano. Andrew Moore. Victoria Mullen. Mercedes Negran. Michael Nowicki. Justin O'Brien. Catherine O'Leary. Rena Olson. Mark Orlando. Charles Pagani. Giuseppe Panessa. Cole Patterson. Ryan Patterson. Jacqueline Pereira. Kelsey Perez. Rochelle Perez. Caitlin Phillips. Robert Phillips. Marianne Pittman. Vicky Panarski. Jake Reyes. Vincent Ricky. Anthony Riccardi. Casey Reardon.
Robert Reedy. Madison Robinson Frada. Alexander Rodriguez. Angela Rose. Samantha Rocher. Michael Ruda. Shane Ryan. Joseph Saez. Sarah Saints. Alvin Sandoval. Tyreek Scantleberry. Matthew Schwartz. Matthew Scalaro. Stephen Shala. Nicholas Sirico. Stephen Sperling. Joseph Spinola. Anders Spittle. Matthew Stair. Nicholas Staton. Seamus Smith. Alyssa Stockinger. Rachel Stockinger. Emiko Suzuki. Dimitri Tamias. Justin Tompkins. Michael Toon Jr. Nicholas Tortorella. Elijah Travis. Jamie Turner. Ray Van Kuren. Alden Vians. Frank Vigna. Brandon Vizaki. Ashley Volpe. Stephanie Wagner. Olivia Weesey. Dylan White. Madison Winogradoff. Mark Yetter. Michael York. Gabriella Zarcone. Alessia Zegarelli. Raquela Zimbaldi.
By the powers vested to me by New York State Education Department, I certify that each of you has met the requirements for graduation from Putnam Valley High School. Please move your tassels from the right to the left. Congratulations to the class of 2016.